Hi, I want to talk to you today about how to proofread for MLA format and correct citations. We're talking about paper number 1 here, and here you can see Sarah's example of that paper. You want your format to look exactly like that. Let me try this little fancy pen function. First of all, at the top you'll notice that she's got a header, a running header, and that her last name is in there and the automatic page number function is on. Then you'll notice the headings for the paper. Yours should look exactly like that, including the format for the date, which is a set MLA format. Notice here that the title is in a plain font, no extra space around it, no bold, no bigger font. Everything is just to look as plain as possible, so you're judged not on the appearance but on the words. So the idea in MLA is every paper is going to look the same, so that they're judged on the quality of the language and writing, not on the appearance of the text. You'll notice around the edges, top, bottom, left, and right, that we've got 1-inch margins. And over here, it's so vital that you have an indentation before a paragraph. Without that, your reader can't tell where your new paragraphs begin. So what you want to do here is you want to make your text look exactly like this. Just make sure that what you have visually totally matches this, and you'll have the exact MLA format you need. So let's look at citations, and let's start with the in-text citation and see if there's some elements of this that we can highlight for ourselves as important. Well, first of all, the key to the MLA method is that you mention the last name of the author of the source in the text. That way, the reader is going to be able to find the source by going to the work cited, which is organized alphabetically. The other key thing is that because you have cited the last name of the author, the only other thing you need to have at the end of your quote, or as close to the quote as possible, is the in-text citation. Notice how the quotation marks are to the left of the parentheses and the period is to the right of the parentheses. This is because the citation is not part of the quote, but is part of the sentence. So the citation needs to be outside the quotes and inside the closing punctuation, the period. Notice too that all we need is the number 27. We don't need the letter P or the word page. We're just saying the page number. Now for works cited, there's sort of 3 different kinds of citations we need for paper number 1. The first is your basic gig citation, and Sarah pretty much has this right on her paper, although she adds a few extra words in some of the copies that are floating around before I could fix it and edit it. But this is the basic format that you want to follow, and you can just review it here or in Sarah's paper. Another type of text that we use in this paper were texts taken from the online version of Lapham's Quarterly. And here is how you would want to cite that. And the key difference here is that this is a website, but it's a website of a specific journal that was published on a particular date. So this would be the name of the article. That happens to be the servant problem, but it could be the Burton piece, the Marx piece, or the Calvin's piece. Here's the name of the journal, which is Lines of Work, Lapham's Quarterly. Lines of Work was a particular edition. And then there's the edition information, so you know when it was published. And then the key thing is that we got this material off the web, and we include the date that we found it on the web. That's real important because you're covered then if that changes later. You found it on this date. If it changes later, that doesn't matter. Now, the other kind of source, the third kind of source in this paper, there are a few pieces that I provided you via direct document that I put up on the web. And for these, we're just going to cite the original source so that people could find it. You don't need to cite me as your source, because in my sources, I provided links to these original sources. So we're going to go ahead and just cite like this. And again, these are the easiest of all to do because you can copy them directly from the page. When you go to the Aristotle page or the Aurelius page or the Mozart page, I have the actual citation right there for you. You can just copy that citation and paste it into your paper. Remember, in MLA, we do not paste in the actual links. The reason I put the links under the citation in my examples that I gave you was so that you could visit the link. But in your actual Works Cited page, you don't put the exact electronic address. You just put the citation exactly as it's formatted on the page that I've supplied you. So quickly, to review, we're checking our MLA while we're proofreading for the page format. We're checking our in-text citations to make sure they're correctly formatted and punctuated. And finally, we want to make sure our Works Cited citations match the formats presented in this slideshow. I hope this has been helpful for you. I look forward to seeing your final drafts.